So as we're talking about multiplication, it's really important to keep in mind what we mean by multiplication. So I want you to take a moment, pause this video, and think about ways that you can explain what does 6 times 4 mean if you're talking to somebody who maybe is not familiar with multiplication yet or is not comfortable with it. Okay, so hopefully you took a moment to actually pause it and think about this, even write something down. And I'm going to show you, so anytime I do this in class, the most common things that come up are like 6 times 4 might mean 6 groups of 4 or 4 groups of 6. So I want you to take a moment, pause the video, and actually see if you can draw a picture of both of these things. Okay, so I'm just going to draw my picture, and your picture might look very different. It might look very, very similar. So it is a good idea to see like how you can actually relate your picture to my picture. So I'm going to show those. So here in this 6 groups of 4, we see 6 groups of 4, and really when we're talking about 6 groups of 4, we're really talking about adding up 6 groups of 4. So I can see this as 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. And so a lot of times when multiplication is introduced, it is actually introduced as as repeated addition. Okay. Similarly, 4 groups of 6 is 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6. Okay. And many of us are familiar with the fact that 6 times 4 is the same as 4 times 6. In both cases where we have 6 groups of 4 or 4 groups of 6, these are always the same. And I think that this is not entirely obvious why these are the same, and I challenge you to think about this. So pause the video and think about like why are these the same? See if you can actually make a drawing that shows both 6 groups of 4 and 4 groups of 6 in the same drawing. Okay, so the most common way to make a drawing that actually shows 4 groups of 6 and 6 groups of 4 as the same thing in one drawing is to represent it in an array. Okay, so now looking at this, we see if we represent 6 times 4 in an array, this array just means like arranging them in rows. And so rows and columns. And so here, if we look at this, we can see 4 rows of 6. Oh, it's a terrible pen. Gotta fix that pen. 4 rows of 6, or we could see it as 6 columns of 4. So this picture actually shows us 4 groups of 6 and 6 groups of 4 in the same picture. Okay. So I went and did this before doing this video to draw all of these little circles, but grid paper actually allows us to represent this multiplication in an array very quickly. So we could just do four blocks high and 6 blocks wide. And then we can see this is 4 times 6, and there are going to be 4 rows of 6 this direction, or 6 columns of 4 this direction. And we see 6 times 4 equals 24, and there are 24 blocks inside this rectangle. And I mean, you can also see it this way, that you know, if I draw the rectangle vertically or horizontally, it's the same rectangle, really. 6 times 4 is the same as 4 times 6. Okay. Okay, so another way that we want to practice representing multiplication is by a number line. So I'm going to go ahead and make a number line, and I know ahead of time that I'm going to need 24, so, because I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do the same problem. So take my straight edge out and make a straight number line, and I'm going to put a 0 here. And I'm gonna do the practice of labeling every 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 10. 15. 20. 25. I know I don't need it, but I'm just going to add the 30. I don't know why. For completing another 10, I guess. So in looking at this, for one thing, the things that we're counting up when we're measuring this, so I want you to think about this number line like a ruler. And so when I know that we put a 1 here, but that 1 really represents that this is a space of 1 unit. Okay, so we're really counting the spaces, and the markers at the ends just really mark how many spaces there are since 0. Okay, so a 6 is here. So this is 6. Okay, so if I want to talk about adding 6, I'm looking at adding 6 there, and then I can add 4 groups of 6 like this. And you can see what I'm doing here is I'm really highlighting these 4 sets of 6. Okay? And when I'm talking about 4 sets of 6, I'm talking about 4 sets of 6 spaces. So this is looking at 6 times 4 as being 4 groups of 6. And I wish I had copied that number line before I had done this, but I guess I'll just do it underneath. I can also represent this as 6 groups of 4. So I can go like this. There's 4. There's another 4. There's another 4. There's another 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups of 4. So one thing that is unfortunate about the number line is it doesn't show you why, like the grid does. It doesn't show you why 6 groups of 4 is the same as 4 groups of 6. But this being able to represent multiplication on a number line is still a good skill for other purposes, just generally getting a handle on the meaning of the multiplication.